Ladies and gentlemen, Ralph Yarl did an exclusive interview on Good Morning America. And yes, you see Robin Roberts there. And, we all know what happened to him. He rung the doorbell at the wrong house and he was shot in the head. And he actually looks great. Now, his mother does point out the fact that he's been struggling. And I'm sure, that's a serious thing to happen to your brain. So for him to be able to speak as well as he does and he can still walk and get around, that's pretty good. But, his mother and his aunt are both in the medical field and they said they have that's why he's made such great progress because he has so many relatives that work in medical field and they can help him you know and it really is an advantage to have people like that in your family. I know for me, most of my mother's sisters were teachers, and so growing up I was able to stay steps ahead of the other students because I would be learning a lot over the summer, and the things I would learn by the time I got back into school in the beginning of the year, I was already well ahead. So it does help. So I'm glad he at least had that kind of assistance in his family. But I'm going to go ahead and show you a clipping of his interview, and I'll be right back with the rest of my commentary.
Exchanged before he shot you?
He only said 5 words. Don't come here ever again. There are a lot of things that are going on inside my head aren't normal. I've been having headaches, trouble with sleep, and sometimes my mind is just foggy. Like, I can't concentrate on the things that would be easy for me to do.
His mother also saying we are looking at a child who took the SAT when he was in the 8th grade. She also talked about how his brain has slowed. I remember when we all learned that the teen was released from the hospital and everyone was saying, oh, it's so remarkable. But it's important to underscore he went home to a family of healthcare providers, including his mother and his aunt, who have been able to care for him and help in this recovery process.
Okay, so, he sounds good, but, we also know he's struggling, and I hope he can get through those struggles, with the help of his family, of course. So we know this happened in Missouri, and, he was 16 at the time, and this was really something that never should have happened. It is not a crime to go to the wrong house. It sure don't warrant anybody getting killed because you turned in some driveway. I think you just have too many people out here with guns and they don't have their head on right. They really don't. So you heard what he said. He does remember Andrew Lester saying to him, don't come here ever again. So we know that was the 84-year-old white man that shot at Ralph Yarl. And they were very hesitant to take him in because if you remember, he was not arrested immediately. And as far as I'm concerned, they set his bond way too low. But, in these incidents, they usually do. So if you remember, Lester, he was charged with 2 felony counts in the shooting, and he claimed he thought Ralph Yarl was trying to break into his home. Usually, when people are trying to break in your home, they don't knock and then stand there waiting patiently. You know, wow. So, anyway, Ralph, they said, is shorter than 6 feet and he's probably under 170 pounds. This is what his aunt told CNN. I'm thinking there's no way he's actually going to shoot. And Then it happened. So that's what he said. So Ralph described running away from the house, bleeding from his head and yelling for help. And it took a while for somebody even to come out and help. And that just goes to show you, aren't these folks always trying to tell you they're good people? They're good people. Well, where were the good people on that day? It took a while before someone actually decided to help. And the person that decided to help made him get on the ground and put his hands up and all that crap. What kind of damn help is that? So, anyway, you know, and it makes you wonder, if one of them were in a black community, would they get that same treatment? Probably not. Probably not. So, mm, so Lester, when this first happened, he was detained. And I remember a lot of people were outraged. Less than 2 hours the night of the shooting, less than 2 hours, and they turned around and let him go. This was the Kansas City Police Department detention center. And because they kept him for such a short period of time, it sparked outrage, not only within the community, but also nationwide. And there were calls for the days after that for him to be charged. And they took almost a week. And if you remember, they didn't pick him up. They allowed Andrew Lester to turn himself in. Now that's privilege for real. So, since all of that happened, we know Ralph continues to recover. And he also attended a unity walk in support of, what happened to him. And these were students at the school that he attended, and they said it was a total of 1,500 students and staff that showed up for the walk. The conditions of Lester's bond, remember, they set it at $200,000, which I feel even now it's still way too low for what he did. He tried to murder this child, and he is no longer allowed to have any weapon or have any direct or indirect contact with Ralph or his family, which I don't think he was ever going to do. And I did a story on Andrew Lester, and it said, like, in the last few months he had to move 3 times. I guess people putting in his face what he did, and he just can't handle or take it. So, anyway, a judge granted a motion in June to seal evidence in the criminal case against Lester after his attorneys argued the media coverage of the case would hinder his ability to get a fair hearing. I could care less. He shot a child. I could care less. So, y'all, let me know what you think about this video, and let me know what you think about seeing Ralph Yarl for the first time since this happened, and he's actually sitting there and can speak. And I'm just glad he's not in worse shape, because this could have really been deadly for him. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.